All right, let's just jump right in. For basically all of human history, life has been about one thing: scarcity. I mean, the constant hunt for food, the backbreaking work, just trying to survive. That was the game. Survival was never guaranteed. It was a daily, grinding struggle. But right now, we are standing on the brink of a revolution that could flip that entire script on its head. So, with things like AI and robotics exploding onto the scene, we suddenly have this incredible potential to create a world of abundance, to finally free ourselves from that age-old problem of just not having enough. And that leads us to this really huge question you see right here. It's not just an academic question. It's the doorway to one of the biggest, most talked about ideas out there today: universal basic income, UBI. So, we're going to get into the dream of a basic income. And you might think this is some new, crazy idea cooked up in Silicon Valley, right? But the thing is, it's not. It's an ancient dream, an idea that's been kicking around for centuries. The big difference is that now, with the rise of the machines, it might actually be possible. I mean, just take a look at this. We're talking about Thomas More's Utopia way back in 1516. Then you've got Thomas Paine, one of the American founding fathers. And it continues all the way up to Martin Luther King Jr. advocating for it in the 60s. So this isn't some fringe idea. The dream of a secure life for everyone has deep, serious roots. And of course, this has led to a massive, long-running debate. On one side, you have people saying, this is it. This is how we end poverty, free people to be creative and build a better society. But on the other hand, the critics come back with some really tough questions. Like, won't people just get lazy? What about inflation? And the biggest one of all, the one that always comes up: how in the world are we going to pay for all this? And honestly, for years, the whole conversation has been pretty much stuck right there. So that brings us to a really interesting point. What if the reason we're stuck is because the entire debate, both for and against, is based on a huge mistake? The core idea we're digging into here is that the stalemate exists because everyone's been looking at the problem from the wrong angle. Yeah, this quote really nails it. We are trying to finance a post-industrial project with the tools of the industrial society. What does that mean? It means all the classic ways we think about funding UBI, they just don't work anymore. They're based on an old system, an old economy that's already fading away. And here's what the source calls the historical mistake. Think about how our society is funded. It's basically a three-legged stool, right? We tax people's paychecks, we tax company profits, and we tax the stuff people buy. Simple enough. But what happens when robots and AI start doing most of the work, when algorithms are making the profits? Suddenly, those three legs of the stool start to look pretty wobbly. You just can't pay for the world of tomorrow by taxing the world of yesterday. Okay, so if the old way is broken, what's the new way? Well, this is where we get to the proposed solution. And it's a big one. It's called electric technocracy. And it's not just a small tweak, it's a complete paradigm shift, a totally different way of thinking about where society's money comes from and where it goes. Let's really break this down. In an electric technocracy, UBI isn't some kind of charity or welfare payment. No, it's treated as a fundamental right. Think of it like a dividend, your share of the absolutely massive wealth being generated by all this new technology. And here's the absolute key. The money doesn't come from us anymore. We completely stop taxing human beings for their work. Instead, we start taxing the machines, the algorithms, the automated systems that are actually doing the production. And this isn't just some vague philosophical idea. The proposal lays out a really concrete system with 3 new funding pillars. First up, a robot tax. Basically, a tax on every single productive thing a machine does. Step 2, an AI usage fee. Think of it as a tiny fee for every calculation a powerful AI makes. And third, a corporate tech tax aimed at the companies raking in the biggest profits from all this automation. Now, the argument is that the system is way more stable than the old models. For one, if you're not taxing people anymore, you get rid of a lot of tax resistance, right? Plus, and this is a big one, you can't just move a giant robot factory or a massive server farm to some tax haven overnight. They're physically there. But maybe the best part is that your UBI is automatically linked to progress. As the tech gets smarter and more productive, everyone's income just goes up. The source even suggests you could have an incorruptible AI, a financial guardian, making sure the whole system stays fair. Okay, and this brings us to what the source argues is a massive fork in the road for all of us, a choice that goes way beyond just economics. We're talking about a choice that could define the entire future of the human race.
The level of power we are on the verge of creating with artificial superintelligence, what people call the singularity, it's almost impossible to wrap our heads around. But the key point here is that the technology itself isn't good or evil, it's neutral. It could create a genuine utopia, or it could create the ultimate prison. And which one we get depends entirely on the kind of society we decide to build around it.
And here they are, the two paths laid out side by side. On one side, you've got the dystopian path. This is where the power of the singularity is owned and controlled by just a tiny handful of elites. All the wealth flows up, and pretty soon, the rest of humanity is just irrelevant, a world of digital feudalism. But on the other side, you have the paradise path. This is where we decide that this incredible technological power belongs to everyone. It's our shared inheritance. And its wealth gets distributed to all of us through a system like UBI, letting human creativity and potential truly run wild. The source even throws out this chilling concept it calls the axis of immortality. This is the scenario where the elites use all this amazing tech, not just to get rich, but to live for a very, very long time, maybe even forever. You'd end up with a permanent, immortal ruling class. I mean, that's the definition of an electronic feudal system, right? A few people living in luxury forever, while everyone else is just left in the dust. So it all comes down to this one final question. Which future are we building right now with the choices we're making every day? Are we on the path to a kind of technological feudalism where all the power and wealth get concentrated in fewer and fewer hands? Or are we actually building the foundation for a technological democracy where the amazing benefits of all this technology are shared with everyone? According to the argument we've explored today, something like a universal basic income isn't just an economic policy. It could be the very thing that decides which one of those futures we get.